Welcome to yet another deadline stream. This is for Game Week 23. And wow, so many things to think about. Obviously, the news that came out about double game weeks in Game Week 24 and 25. And then obviously we have the major double game week in 26, which we all knew about, but we still don't know the fixtures for that. So it's important to kind of like hold our transfers if possible and plan accordingly. But as you can see on screen, I have made one change to my team selection video. And it might stand, and that's my captaincy. Seeing how bad Son was against West Brom and looking at the statistics for West Ham, for Antonio and for Fulham, I don't know, and it feels a bit more exciting to captain someone different like Antonio, although to be honest I've been getting so many captaincy decisions wrong, so it is what it is. Hopefully if I fail again, it'll be something a bit more interesting rather than the usual template. But thank you to everyone who's joined in. It's a really early one. I really appreciate everyone who is here. And we'll go through your questions. Data says, whom should I downgrade or should I go for me? He lists his team: Martinez, McCarthy, Diaz, Stones, Dallas, Soufal, Justin, Salah, Son, Grealish, Gundogan, Fernandes, Antonio, DCL, Bamford. I want to transfer in Pope for McCarthy, but I don't have enough funds. Yeah, Pope is still the ideal pick from Burnley in terms of, bonus points, save points and all of that. I think he's definitely the best asset for Burnley, but if you can't afford him, me is probably your next best bet. And from that, who would you downgrade? That's a tough one because Dallas has a double game week in 25. Diaz and Stones do. Soufal's got good fixtures. Maybe have to be Justin. The thing is with Soufal, I'm actually considering getting rid of him for game week 26 onwards because it's unlikely that West Ham are going to have a double game week. And also, if they do, it'll be Man City and Arsenal, that's not a good double game week really, and you can get West Ham players back in, but yeah, Soufal or Justin, although for the next two, Soufal has very good fixtures, so I don't think you'd want to get rid of him for that, so that's what I would say. Hi Dylan, what do you think about Wildcard in this game week in general? It would let me to make 4 changes for the current game week, which I want, to cover Burnley doubles by bringing Pope and setting team for bench boost in game week 26. I mean, it's all team dependent. But what I would say is that we don't know for sure what the Game Week 26 fixtures are going to be. So I would try to hold off for maybe Game Week 24 or 25 using the wild card, and then we'll have a better idea, of what the doubles will be. Obviously, we have a decent idea, but it's not, anything can happen in football. And what happens in the FA Cup will impact Game Week 29, and as a consequence, it will impact Game Week 26. So that's what I would say. But if you feel it's right, then go for it. But in my case, normally when I look at a wild card, I think I have to transfer out at least 6-7 players. Otherwise, I think I can make better use of it later down the line. But that's how I think about it. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Ninad asks, start Dallas or Soufal? That's a tough one because Dallas has that attacking potential. He's got a good fixture against Palace. But then you have Soufal against Fulham. I don't know. I think Soufal's a bit more likely to keep a clean sheet. But Dallas is more likely to get an attacking return. However, you can't put it past any of them. I'd probably go for Soufal, but you know what? I'd try to start both of them if possible. They're both pretty good options. People buying me and ignoring Dunk is a crime. The reason why people are going for me is because of the double game week. That's why in game week 24. But Dunk, Webster, all these players, and to be honest, I still think the standout is their keeper Sanchez. Brighton have some good defensive assets. And if they had a double game week in 26, I would definitely have a Brighton defender in some capacity because they could have West Brom and Newcastle in a double game week along with good fixtures before and after. So Brighton looking very good at the moment. And how did Rafinha price can fall after 13, 5 and 9 points? Yeah, that's a tough one. I think it's because he was an injury doubt for game week 22. And even I think someone in the Leeds medical staff transferred him out, so people were just convinced that Rafinha would, miss the game. But even then, I'm pretty sure Bielsa did say him and Bamford should be fine. But, it is what it is. Rafinha's a good asset, and if I could, I would have him for game week 25 when he has a double. He looks pretty good for that. Start Cancelo or Diaz, ask Liam. I'd say Cancelo, more attacking potential. And if he doesn't start, I mean, that would be a bit of a worry because he might come on for a point or something. With Diaz, he's going to start, but I just think Cancelo is more likely to do something. But you never know. This could be the game week that Diaz scores a header or something at Anfield, so we'll see. Lindelof or Stones or Alioski to start? Ooh, tough one. If you already have a City defender, I definitely, wouldn't put Stones also. That's me personally. You could go for double City defense if you think they're going to keep a clean sheet. Maybe Alioski, but yeah, not too convinced with any of those three options really. Dylan says Martinez, Cancelo, Bissaka, Sufal, Dallas, Gundogan, Soucek, Grealish, Bruno, Antonio, Bamford. On the bench, Diaz, Salah, Adams. Thoughts on the lineup and transfer? Very bold to put Salah on the bench, and not even first on the bench, second. Yeah, that looks pretty decent to be honest. In terms of transfers, I'm not so sure. Probably more double game week players such as Pope for game week 24, 25 as well. But you're pretty well set for that. So yeah, it should be fine. I mean, Che Adams is obviously the standout. I know he has a double game week in 25, but I'd still probably get rid of him. But that's me personally. Play Gundogan or Watkins. Tough one. I mean, I'm playing Gundogan this week after him kind of messing me up. I would probably go for Watkins though this week, but you never know. Jack asks, Wilson to Antonio, is that a good idea? To be honest, it is for the next two, but if you look at Antonio's fixtures afterwards, they're pretty bad, and I'm not sure if a lot of people will get rid of him, but you know what, it's a possibility. I'm actually considering it, and then getting him back, because I keep saying it, right now I think he's the best striker you could have. But, if he doesn't have the double game week, he doesn't have the fixtures, then no, not for me. I've stuck Lingard in. What's your opinion on captaining him? Your streams are ace. Thank you, PGAB. Hopefully I said that right. Yeah, I mean, Lingard, I'll be honest, I think his goals were, not lucky. It's just Martinez, being pretty poor with the saves. But Lingard might be someone decent. He's still going to be a differential, despite how many people transferred him in after that performance against Villa. Thoughts on captaining him? I mean, he might do the business for you. If you have a gut feeling, go for it, It's good to be different sometimes, and it can pay off with the points. For me, from West Ham, I think the standouts in terms of captaincy would be Antonio and maybe Creswell. But yeah, Lingard might be a good differential. So if you do captain him, good luck, and let's see how it goes. I'm captaining Dallas. Genius or foolish? As I always say when people ask me, is this a good move or a bad move? We'll know when the points come in, but you know what? Dallas has plenty of attacking potential, could get a clean sheet, although we'll have to wait and see what happens there. Could be something good. And also Palace are probably without Zaha, so that's going to be a big dent for Crystal Palace. Marcus says, my Game Week 23 team, Pope, Cancelo, Sufal, Justin, Salah, Gundogan, Soucek, Song, captain, Fernandes, vice-captain, Bamford, Antonio. Decent bench as well. You've got some double Game Week players there. Yeah, did De Gea to Pope, rolled my other transfer. Thoughts? Yeah, that looks pretty good. Pope is, the one I would have probably told you to get at one point, and you've got him, so that looks pretty good for now. Obviously, going into Game Week 26, we'll have to wait and see the fixtures for that. But yeah, overall, that looks pretty good, to be honest. Shall I start Diaz, Justin, and Sufal, or start Stones ahead of Justin? Thoughts, please, and love the channel. Thank you, Mickey. I'd probably... I'd probably go with what you had, Diaz, Justin and Sufal, and have Stones first or second bench. That's what I'd probably do. I think that's the right thing to do, and thank you for your comment. Start Wan-Bissaka or DCL this game week? Speaking of my bench, which I haven't shown yet, I've got Calvert-Lewin on my bench, so the same thing as I had in my team selection, Stones and Mitchell, and at the moment I'm going for Wan-Bissaka over DCL. Wan-Bissaka is my new transfer. But yeah, I don't know. I would probably go for Wan-Bissaka, but DCL, if Everton do something, you'd back DCL to be part of it. And to be honest, Everton, they pretty much score in every single away game, and United aren't the greatest defensively. And I say that, and I just brought Aaron Wan-Bissaka in, but it is what it is. But yeah, I'd probably go for Wan-Bissaka, but that's me personally. If you feel differently, then go for it. I've done Salah to Rafinha, very bold, and to be honest, maybe a good move over the next few game weeks. Start DCL or Dallas, I'd probably go for Dallas, Mohammed, but it's up to you, but I'd probably go for Dallas, that's me personally. Put my armband on Adams, thoughts? On Che Adams, that's bold. I know they've got Newcastle, don't they? I don't know, I wouldn't do that personally, but... You know what? If you have a feeling and it pays off, then that's probably the best feeling you can have in FPL. Good luck with that. Watkins or DCL, who to play? I'd go with Watkins, Aranya. Normally, obviously, DCL I'd prefer any day, but I think Watkins probably has the slightly better fixture, especially considering the fact that Leno is out and he has a big impact on Arsenal's defensive record. Who are your transfers? I only made one transfer, as I discussed in my team selection video, and I got Wan-Bissaka in for Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was pretty much a one-week punt, and that failed, but it is what it is. And now what I'm planning on doing is getting in Game Week 24, 25, and then obviously 26 players. So Pope coming in, probably for 4-star. I've got enough money to do that. And at one point, I'll definitely want to get in Justin, especially if he has a double game week in 26, and he'd be coming in for Mitchell. And apart from that, maybe in game week 26 itself or around that period, I mean, Sufal could make way for Dallas or something. He's got a double in 25. So those are my plans at the moment. Obviously, if I didn't have Triple City, I would actually consider getting Sterling for next week, and maybe getting rid of Salah and stuff like that. Just too much money, haven't been performing. But yeah, those are my plans at the moment, and that's my transfer so far. Start Gundogan or Soucek. I'd probably start Soucek, Mohammed, but it's up to you. Start DCL or Dallas as fourth defender. Did I say Dallas? Sorry, DCL or Diaz. That's a tough one. Super Saud. If you already have a City defender, I'd probably start DCL. Otherwise, I'd go for Diaz. Should I start DCL or Gundogan? Tough one. I'd probably just about go for Gundogan, Faris, but that's a tough one. I've got the same kind of dilemma. I've opted for Gundogan. But DCL may be slightly more likely to score, but I don't know. Gundogan's form and the way City are playing, I just don't want to bench him at the moment. Bench one, Salah, Watkins, Grealish, Soucek. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. I mean, I'd consider benching Salah from the ones you mentioned, and if not, maybe Watkins. I'd definitely start Soucek and Grealish. Dylan, good luck this game week, brother. Thank you, Jose, and good luck to you as well. Yeah, hopefully our captains and stuff pay off. My team: Martinez, Dallas, Diaz, Maguire, Justin Fernandez, captain Gundogan, Soucek, Maddison, Wilson, Bamford, Mendy, Salah, Calvert-Lewin, Kilman, subs. No transfer this week, save, so I have 2 free transfers in 24. That sounds pretty good, Francis, and yeah, that looks very good, to be honest. Yeah, pretty good team, and decent captain, obviously. We'll have to wait and see how he does with Pogba. Argowal says, start one, please. Watkins, Target, or Cancelo. If you don't have a City defender already, I'd probably still go for Cancelo out of those 3, but Target is the one I'd definitely not start. So it's between Watkins and Cancelo, and if you already have a City defender, then go for Watkins. Will Kane be available this game week? It's possible, but still unlikely. Most likely he's going to be back for the Everton game in the FA Cup, or for Manchester City in game week 24. But there is a small chance that Kane is available, but it would be a bit sad, if Spurs rush Kane back. For West Brom, but not surprised at this moment. Should I play Gundogan or Jesus? Tough one. I'd probably still go for Gundogan, but there is a case to be made for Gabriel Jesus. Hi Dylan, Dallas for a 4-point hit. Not for me, terrific tech. Obviously, good long term because he's got that double game week in 25. He's got a good fixture here. But I'm not sure about that. I probably wouldn't do that. I don't like taking hits for defenders. Only if they fund, moves for big hitters or something in the midfield or attack. I wouldn't do a -4 if possible for a defender. Why did you bring Aaron Wan-Bissaka in? Good long-term fixtures. Likely to have a double in game week 26. And yeah, just Trent Alexander-Arnold. He was someone I thought who could get me by for the next few weeks. And he had a double. And I just didn't see it with Liverpool. Although they were a bit unlucky to concede against Brighton. Still, too many unlucky goals conceded. And for me, Wan-Bissaka, good long-term move. And I've been eyeing up United defenders for a long time. Luke Shaw is the ideal pick if he obviously had the same amount of minutes as Wan-Bissaka. And he wasn't as injury-prone, didn't have, someone like Telles, from time to time to fill in. Otherwise, Shaw would have been the option. But Wan-Bissaka's nailed. He has a bit of attacking potential. And if you look at the stats, he's right up there. Obviously, the Southampton game inflated it. But that's why I went for Wan-Bissaka. Sanchez keeper versus Burnley or Martinez versus Arsenal. I'd probably go for Sanchez in that case. More likely to keep a clean sheet. And Villa have been pretty poor defensively recently as opposed to Brighton, who have been very good. Welcome, James. Thank you for joining in. Play Cancelo or Shaw? Probably Shaw, but I'd still try to have one City defender in. It's possible that they keep a clean sheet at Anfield, but we'll have to wait and see. Given any thoughts on wildcarding after the FA Cup fixtures and before the Game Week 24 deadline to target all 3 double game weeks and bench boost in 26? Yeah, I have, but to be honest, I'll have to wait and see first. If I wildcard, ultimately depends on if I need to make a lot of changes in order to get the team I want for the next few game weeks. Otherwise, I'm not really too bothered about that. We'll have to wait and see. So I'm either wildcarding around 24, 25, or after Game Week 29. That's basically what I'm doing. Going to bench all City players, Gundogan, Cancelo and Stones. Just not seeing them, keeping a clean sheet. Pope, Dallas, Sufal, Wan-Bissaka, Salah, Grealish, Bruno, Barnes, Watkins, Bamford, Antonio captain. Yeah, that looks good to be honest. I would still personally play a City defender or someone, maybe Gundogan. But fair enough, you have to back what, if you think City are going to struggle or not do as well as you think, and a lot of people have double or triple City in that game, then you might have an advantage over them. Play Diaz, Gundogan or DCL. I'd probably go for Gundogan out of those three, especially if you already have a City defender. Fortune. City, Liverpool is going to end 0-0, calling it. If it is, then I'm going to have points on my bench with Stones if he does play. Yeah, it is possible. A 0-0 is possible. Could be a cagey affair where both are kind of, afraid to make a mistake. What are some good differentials this week? Defense, midfield, or attack? That's a good question. To be honest, Sufal could be classed as a differential. Let's see his ownership. Yeah, 7%. I mean, Sufal is a differential, but to be honest, captaining Antonio, despite, if you look at a lot of people captaining him, he is actually a differential in terms of captaincy, you would think anyway. He's only around 20% ownership. So yeah, I'd say that's a differential in itself if you want to be different with your captain. But apart from that, I think Sanchez from Brighton, that's a good differential, but he is a keeper. I mean, who does differentials with keepers and stuff, or make goalkeeper transfers for the sake of it? Who knows? But yeah, there's plenty of differentials sitting around, but don't just buy differentials or play differentials for the sake of it. Now, that's how I would see it. Tempted to bench Salah for Watkins. Yeah, I mean, I understand that. I was already, speaking to others before about, should I bench Salah, Watkins, or others? And to be honest, Salah and Watkins, there's a debate to be made there. Yeah, you could play Watkins. He's probably more likely to score. But Salah, I mean, it's just the explosive potential, and I always say this, and that's why I played Son last week, and to be honest, I shouldn't have. Captain Rashford or Bamford, and could you give some insight stats on them? Okay. Well, to be honest, to put it bluntly, Bamford has good attacking stats and Rashford doesn't. So if we look at the last 4 game weeks, for example, let's look at Bamford. Let's find him here. Yeah, so he's actually not that good offensively in the last 4 game weeks. He's got an expected goal involvement of 1.36 over the last 4. But Rashford, I mean, even with that 9-0 win, I mean, I'm struggling to find him here in this list. I mean, I'm scrolling down and down. I just don't see him. Wow. Where is this guy? Trying to find him. Well, Bruno Fernandes, I mean, from Man United, I think he's the one you obviously want to have. And in terms of midfielders, he's top with an expected goal involvement of nearly 4. But Rashford, I'm telling you, I think he's got an expected goal involvement of less than 1. It's pretty awful. So, and also the fixture is quite tough. So yeah, stats aren't everything. Let me put it this way, and I've already talked about this before. When I make captaincy decisions or decisions on who to bench, I've looked at stats and sometimes it just doesn't pay off. Form changes and the opponents, the way they play, it all has an impact. But from those 2 you mentioned, I would prefer captaining Bamford. He's got the better fixture, he's got the better form. And yeah, Rashford, despite obviously being really good in his last game, I still prefer Bamford. But back your gut. Meslier or Martinez? For this game week, I'd actually go for Meslier. In most cases, it'd be Martinez. Keep or sell Barnes for Eze? No, I wouldn't go for Eze. He's a quality player in real life, but I would not go for him in FPL. Is Alonso first choice under Tuchel now? Chilwell bench fodder? I think so, Marcus. And that's obviously the worry I had with Chelsea defenders. But Rudiger, especially now with Thiago Silva probably out, Zuma's got a knock. Rudiger should be nailed. And he's also someone I'm still looking at, despite the poor fixtures in Game Week 26, if they do happen, if the double Game Week does happen. But yeah, I think Alonso is first choice, and I think Chilwell is second. But things can change. If Chilwell impresses in training, if Alonso has a stinker in a game, that will change. I think Tuchel's the type to rotate. He always used to rotate fullbacks at PSG, and he'd even play centre-backs at right-back and stuff like that. Son in for Bowen, so I can take out Gundogan. I mean, yeah, I probably would do that for this game week, but still, Spurs and Son just have looked so poor, and it took 87 minutes for Son to get his first penalty touch, or touch in the penalty area. Pretty poor, to be honest. Thoughts on bench boost in Game Week 24? My logic is that I wildcard in 25, I put some 29 players in there and less value on the bench, and single Game Week fixtures in 24 look so strong. Fair enough, but I still think if you can, Game Week 26 is the best, game week to wildcard, or wildcard to bench boost, because double game weeks, you can literally have up to 15 players with a double game week, and you're more likely to get, a good number of points. And sometimes someone might have a good fixture on paper and it just doesn't materialize. But, if you really, really are confident about it, then go for it. But for me personally, I'm definitely going with 26, despite my bench in the next 2 game weeks being pretty strong, especially if I make my next few transfers. I've got Trent, Stones, Cancelo and Ogbonna. If I go for Eze, is it worth to buy a Burnley defender this week? Worth it for -4 points? Which defender should I take out now? Not for a -4 and not Eze. That's me personally. If you really back Eze to do it, then go for it. I'm not telling you not to do that, but I don't feel it with Eze. He's a quality player, but sometimes he can have a great game and not really, get those goals or assists you want. And Crystal Palace are literally one of the bottom teams, if not the bottom team, for expected goals over the whole season. So I'm not really feeling that. And I already always say this with hits with defenders, only if you're, funding moves for midfielders and attackers of real quality and consistency. So not for me. Hey Dylan, would you bring in Lowton or me for Soufal or Pope for Johnston? I also have Martinez and I'm risking no Son. For me, Marco, I would probably go Pope for Johnston because Soufal has 2 good fixtures over the next 2 and you'd probably want him for those 2. So yeah, Pope for Johnston is for me a no-brainer. Dylan, what is your strategy for the next couple of weeks? Yeah, as I said before, Jose, my strategy is to either wildcard in game week 24 or 25. If I need it for the bench boosting 26, I'm definitely going to be bench boosting in 26 unless something happens. And if not, I'm going to be using my second wild card after game week 29. And the plan right now, before I get to that stage, is to make free transfers. So Pope in for Forster, and then Justin in for Mitchell if he has a double game week, and stuff like that. And maybe Rafinha could come in with that double game week in 25, or Dallas. I'm going to be trying to get those sort of players in. Even Watkins for Antonio, because if you think about it, Antonio in game week 26, he's got Manchester City, he's got games like Manchester United and Arsenal afterwards, and he's got Tottenham just before that. So Antonio's fixtures do take a big turn for the worse in game week 25. So one thing I could do is maybe take a -4 for Watkins, who's got a double game week most likely in 26. It's not yet confirmed. So those are my plans at the moment. I've got a good idea, but things don't always turn out the way we expect. Rumours that Antonio will be benched. True. I haven't seen anything about that. There's always these sort of rumours that pop up, before a deadline. I'm going to wait. I'm going to try check. But normally when someone says something like that, it ends up just being those rumours created by people. Probably those who don't want, that sort of player captained. But still, hopefully he does play. I'm going to try search this up quickly. But I'm not too sure about that. I would be a bit surprised if they do that, to be honest. They were playing so well, Antonio and Lingard up front. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything at the moment, and he's been in training, so you would expect him to start. Foden or Soucek? Soucek for this game week, definitely. You should get Chelsea players 3 clean sheets in a row, and they're up against Sheffield United. Yeah. Rudiger is someone I could have got instead of Wan-Bissaka, but I just prefer Wan-Bissaka long term. And also, you look at the points potential. I mean, there is Alonso, but I don't know. And there's also Thiago Silva injured, Zuma. Not too sure. I mean, they have good fixtures, but it's not like they're going to keep clean sheets every single time. But you know what? A potential transfer I could make is Rudiger in. He does get bonus points as well. But I don't know. I'm not really in a rush, and there's no such thing as an essential right now. There's so many different options. You could go without Spurs players, you could go without Salah, you could go out without Bruno and still do really well. So yeah, I'm not really too bothered about Chelsea defenders. But and as for midfielders and attackers, I see nothing really from Chelsea that kind of appeases me FPL wise. I could either play double Man City defense or just one under Cordova Reed. I'd probably go for double Man City defense, but if you back Reed, then go for it. Fernandes or Son to captain? Stats-wise, Bruno's the clear winner. But then you look at the fixture, it's Son. And to be honest, Bruno, before, playing 10 or 9 men Southampton, he wasn't getting the points. But still better form than Son. If you're a form guy, go for Bruno, and if you really like that fixture for Son and you think he could do well, go for him. But my personal pick is Bruno out of the two. But Son could do well. A lot of people are taking the armband off him, and he might do really well now. Transfer in Pope or roll the transfers, so 2 free transfers in game week 24. Well, if you want to play Pope this game week, Dylan, then yeah, go for it. But if you're not really, in a rush, you've got a good keeper for this game week, then yeah, you could just roll the transfer and make the 2 free transfers in game week 24. Gives you more flexibility, and also just in case any injuries happen or anything like that. Best players to get up for the upcoming double game weeks. For me, probably some of the players that I'm trying to look for my team. So obviously I don't want to recommend, players that I'm not even considering. Nick Pope from Burnley. Apart from that, I'll be honest, I mean, there is Ben Mee, but I wouldn't really consider anyone else from Burnley. You could go for Lowton, who's a bit cheap, but I don't like their midfielders or attack. Then you look at Leeds, Rafinha, Bamford and Dallas. They're the three standouts. If you want triple Leeds, those are the three to go for. And from Southampton, I mean, that's a tough one. I want to see how they do over the next couple of game weeks because their fixtures do turn and they could have, 3 double game weeks in a row. So in game week 25 and 26 and in 27. But, if they're awful and they're getting -7 points or whatever, you don't want to get them, do you? But Ings would probably be my, my pick from Southampton. And maybe, I don't know about Bednarek, Walker-Peters when he's back. But yeah, Southampton not really feeling it at the moment with them. And then obviously Man City, you want to have double or triple Man City, probably triple Man City. And that, it's the same thing, 1 or 2 defenders, Cancelo, Stones or Diaz, and then Gundogan, Sterling. So just pick 3 out of those 5 and you should be good to go. And as for Everton, in my opinion, only Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If you already have Digne, hold him. Otherwise, I wouldn't really want to get him because the double does include Man City anyway. But Calvert-Lewin would definitely be the pick from Everton. Bench 2 from Soufal, Soucek, Justin or Wilson. Tough one. I would start Soufal and I'd probably start Wilson. I don't know, man. I mean, you could start all of them. I mean, damn, these are the selection headaches we have, don't we? I'd probably bench Justin from those 3 and then just pick 2 from the others. With Soucek, you never know. He actually got a big haul against Fulham last time. So back you got on that one. Is it worth bringing in Pope as a second keeper for a -4 hit? My first keeper is Martinez. No, just wait for next week. There's no reason to take a -4 because then you'd need Pope to get, 10 plus points in order for that hit to pay off. So I wouldn't do that personally unless you're convinced he's going to do that. Otherwise, yeah, just wait for next week and do it. Captain Son, Bruno, Antonio, Bamford. This is the question that I've got for my own team. And at the moment, I've gone for Antonio. So stats-wise, or should I say also the blend of fixture and form, Antonio's the clear winner. But then you look at the fixture, Son is the clear winner. And then you look at, reliability and consistency over the whole season. 9 double-digit returns in 22 games, or 21 actually. Bruno Fernandes. So there's a case to be made for all of them. Bamford is probably the kind of the most differential out of those 4. And he's got a good fixture. The only thing I'd say about Bamford is that most of his goals come away from home. So my pick is Antonio, but any of the other 3 are good as well, in my opinion. Do you think Werner can start and show up against Sheffield? I think he can, but with Werner, there's too many ifs, buts and maybes. And even if he does do well, I think there are better options. So until he, puts in consistent performances, why spend 3 million more on Werner when you can have Bamford, Wilson, Antonio, Watkins, Dominic Calvert-Lewin? I just don't see a point, in my opinion. And especially with Kane coming back soon, unless Werner's a placeholder for him, I wouldn't want to go anywhere near Werner at the moment. I'm captaining Pope this week. I mean, fair enough. Maybe he'll do better than my captain because my captains have been pretty poor recently. But yeah, I've never captained a keeper. Some people will be doing that for Game Week 24, but good luck. I don't feel it. But hopefully you do well with that. Can I bench DCL, Jack or Vardy? I wouldn't bench Grealish. And yeah, I'd probably bench Calvert-Lewin from those 3. The only thing with Vardy that I will say is that he could start from the bench. And he did something similar when he returned from an injury against Arsenal. He came from the bench and he still did really well. But obviously that limits his points potential. So just bear that in mind. So that is risky. But I'd probably bench Calvert-Lewin from those 3. Any news for Villa's double game week fixtures? Not yet. There's no news yet. But they are very likely to have a double game week in 26. And they've got so many, games that haven't been played yet. So they're going to happen at some point, whether it's game week 26, 27, or these other smaller double game weeks in the future. Maybe game week 32 or 37. I'd have to double check that. But yeah, it has to be in some of those weeks. How many free transfers should we stack up for the upcoming game week? As many as you can, to be honest. I mean, I've already made a transfer, so maybe obviously in hindsight I shouldn't have, but you know what, it's a long-term move, so I don't regret it too much. But you know what, I'm pretty happy with, some of my planned moves, and I'm happy with the team I can assemble for the next few weeks. So in your case, I mean, it's team dependent always, all these sort of questions are. But yeah, it depends on if you have so many Burnley players, Everton, and all of this, but try to stack up as many as possible, and obviously just analyze, just from each team pick a player and say, who do I want? So from Leeds, it's Bamford, and if you already have him, maybe it's Rafinha, and then from Everton, it's DCL, and from Burnley, it's probably Pope. So just identify those players and try bringing them in. You should be good in terms of getting them in. Double Burnley defence, goalkeeper plus defender. I mean, it is a differential. It is. So that could be very good. Pope is my ideal pick if you had to pick one. But if you also want me, then fair enough. Why not go for it? DCL, Soucek and Foden, play two amongst them. Probably Soucek and DCL. Not really feeling with Foden, but you never know. Teams that won't have double game week in 26 from what you know. You know what, let me bring up a picture now. Let's see. Give me a second. I'm going to be bringing up what we know so far about double game week 26. So right now, there's no actual fixture that is, completely ruled out, I think. So the ones that are unlikely to happen, which is kind of what your question is insinuating, is Everton. So they could face Southampton and Aston Villa or West Brom in Game Week 26. But the stipulation is they need to beat Tottenham in order for their Game Week 29 fixture to be a blank. But that's classed as an unlikely, eventuality. Then you look at Fulham, Crystal Palace and maybe Tottenham or Burnley in Game Week 26. That's unlikely. Then you look at Sheffield United against Liverpool and Villa. To be honest, no one cares about Sheffield United assets, in my opinion. Leeds, Leicester and West Ham. It's pretty unlikely to happen. That would depend on West Ham beating Man United in the FA Cup. Then you have West Ham, Man City, Arsenal. Also depends on West Ham beating Man United in the FA Cup. That's classed as unlikely. Brighton, they have to beat Leicester in the FA Cup, and then they would have West Brom and Newcastle. And then as for Newcastle, they could have Wolves and Brighton, but once again, depends on Brighton being Leicester. And then West Brom depends on Everton being Tottenham. They could have Brighton and Everton. So those are the unlikely, kind of teams to have a double game week in 26, but they could still have it. Nothing is confirmed yet. Bruno or Bamford? In my opinion, Bruno, but I don't know. If you want to go different and you back Bamford and you don't rate Palace, which a lot of people don't, then go for Bamford. Antonio or Bruno, whom to captain? This is the thing, ultimately make your own decisions. That's the fun of FPL, when you make your decisions and they pay off. Obviously, sometimes it's good to listen to different people, the stats they bring or their opinions, and then kind of, you can make the best judgment from that. But just go for what you want. If you want a more exciting pick, then go for Antonio. But if you want someone a bit more safe, someone that you can trust most of the time, probably Bruno Fernandes is the guy to go. Do we have updates on Tierney, Mane and Kane? Makes a big difference to the week's decisions for me. So Ollie, hopefully you're still in the chat. Mane is likely to play this game week. He has been training, same with Fabinho. So that could be a big boost for Liverpool. As for Tierney, I think he's out. I don't think he's been in full training yet. And if he has, not enough for him to start. He could still start, but it's unlikely in my opinion. And as for Kane, there's a small chance of him playing against West Brom, but the most likely outcome is that he comes back for that big FA Cup game for Spurs against Everton, and if not, the Game Week 24 fixture against Manchester City. So that's the news on those three. Hi mate, Grealish or Maddison, who to start? That's a tough one. I'd probably go for Grealish, but Maddison, with the form he's in, I think his form started around the time that I actually said I prefer Maddison over Barnes, and to be honest, stats-wise, Barnes is the best one, but back then I actually preferred Maddison. It ultimately depends on, what kind of player you want. But Maddison is so hard to bench him right now with his form. Which one should I bench? Calvert-Lewin, Soucek, Wilson or Salah? In my opinion, Calvert-Lewin. And if not, if you think Calvert-Lewin can do something, then bench Salah. I heard Son might be missing because of something to do with respiratory problems. Apparently opened Spurs' trophy. Oh my god. These jokes never get old, bruv. Oh my god. Minamino could be an interesting pick. Yeah, he could be. But the thing is with Minamino, it's a wait and see in my opinion, a bit like Lingard. But from Southampton, I think Minamino could actually make a big difference to their team. Maybe not FPL-wise, but in terms of how they play overall. Start Callum Hudson-Odoi or Gundogan? In my opinion, I'd actually start Callum Hudson-Odoi. What do you think about bringing in Rafinha from Leeds as a fifth midfielder? Yeah, that's good because he also has a double game week in 25, so why not? I think that looks pretty good, to be honest. It depends who you get out. But I like that. Play Dallas or Sufa, or keep saying Dallas. Oh my god, that maybe I should transfer him in just to stop saying his name. Diaz or Sufa, have no more City defenders playing. I'd probably go for Sufal, but you know what? Maybe City can keep a clean sheet there. Who to start? From Martinez and Areola and Dallas and Diaz. Already have Cancelo. Tough one. Let me look at the fixtures again. Oof. Yeah, I'd probably go for Martinez and Dallas, in my opinion, MSK. Start Stones or Cancelo? Cancelo for me. He's got far more attacking potential. Obviously, if Stones comes up with 2 goals like he did against Palace or whatever it was, then what can we do? But I would go for Cancelo. Shall I bench Salah for Watkins? If you have no one else, then maybe. I think Watkins is more likely to do something this week. Chilwell to Shaw or Lowton? I would probably say Shaw still. And if you can, get Pope instead for Burnley cover. Start De Gea or Sanchez? I'd actually start Sanchez in my opinion. JT Ram. Saka or Gundogan? I would start Saka, Dave. Hey mate, if you had to bench Gundogan or Salah, who would it be? That's a tough one. Fuck it. I'd probably bench Gundogan, and the only reason really is Salah's more explosive potential and his reputation. But if you back City to win, then just go for Gundogan, you know. And I don't want to bench Gundogan right now. Digne, Stones or Dallas? Dallas from those 3. Wilson or Antonio? Antonio for sure. Shall I bring in Son just for this week for protection? And if so, shall I bench Watkins, Rashford, Gundogan? Don't just bring in a player for protection. I mean, not in my opinion. If you think Son's going to do well and you might captain him or whatever, then go for it. But don't just bring him in to kind of, cover or be safe or whatever. That's my opinion anyway. And if you did, want to, get rid of him, and if so, shall I bench Watkins, Rashford, or Gundogan? Out of those 3, I'd probably bench Gundogan, but that's a tough one. Maybe Watkins is another one, but yeah. Thoughts on playing Barnes against Wolves? I think Barnes can do well, and it's so difficult to predict when he's going to get his points, just like Leicester. But I think Barnes can do well, and he's not someone I would particularly want to bench. Long-term assets. I mean, long-term assets. No. I was going to say Antonio. He's not. Okay, just forget that. Gundogan. City defenders. Okay, those are kind of obvious ones. Grealish is a long-term option. Maddison, Barnes, James Justin. I think they're all long-term options. Let's see. There's probably more players. Let me think. I think Bamford is because of the double game weeks in 25. Rafinha is another one. There's plenty of double game week options, for 24, 25, 26. I think Sanchez from Brighton, I keep mentioning him now. He's a good long-term option. So yeah, there's plenty. Cavani plays. I'm not sure, mate, because Oli likes to rotate, and to be fair to him, he's been rotating pretty well between him and Martial and also other players in midfield. Will he play? I think he will, but I just couldn't tell you for sure. Chilwell or Sufal? Thoughts? Sufal. I mean, Chilwell's probably not going to play, let's be real. I think he's lost his spot to Marcos Alonso, but maybe just start Chilwell just in case. The only problem would be is if he comes on as a substitute. That would be a bit of a shame. Son for Grealish or bank transfer? Bring in Son in for Grealish. I mean, despite Son probably outscoring Grealish this game week on paper, I prefer Grealish long term. Saka or Gundogan? For this game week, Saka. Overall, Gundogan. Start Gundogan or DCL? Gundogan, in my opinion, Pava. Martinez or Mendy? Mendy for this game week. De Gea or Martinez? I would probably start De Gea, Naji. Bench Barnes or Watkins? Oh my god, these questions are tough, man. That's a really tough one. Maybe Watkins. Captain Bamford or Antonio? In my opinion, Antonio. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be a smart ass, but I mean, you see I got Antonio captain, so you know what my thoughts are on it. But don't just think because I've captained Antonio or because I haven't or whatever, you shouldn't do the opposite or the same thing. Back your gut. Both good options this game week. I prefer Antonio though. What's your bench? My bench, as I've shown before, but obviously probably a long time ago. Calvert-Lewin is my first substitute. Stones is my second, and Mitchell is just there. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Captain Son, not for me. He might do well. I'd be surprised if he blanked. Let's put it that way. But you know what? I don't want to watch Spurs. Spurs are awful. And I prefer watching West Ham and Antonio. It's a bit more exciting. And also stats. Stats all back Antonio in terms of Antonio stats, West Ham stats, the opponent's stats. Fulham are actually, very, very close to West Brom in terms of worst defences in recent times. But West Brom, despite the underlying stats, West Brom still concede 2 or more goals every game. So yeah. Should I bench Salah and substitute him for Callum Wilson? Oh my God. I mean, Wilson's more likely to do, well, but I don't know. Salah's just way more explosive. I don't know. Wilson's a troll, so that's a tough one. Why Antonio not Son captain? I mean, why not? Antonio's a good captain, no? And if you look at the last 5 game weeks, ever since Antonio's come back into West Ham's team, he's outscored Son astronomically. And you look at expected goal involvements of any player, Antonio's top. And as for Son, he's had 1 penalty touch against Chelsea, and that came in the 87th minute. And if you look at Spurs' expected goals over the last 4, it's 1. I think it's just over 1, and Antonio himself has a bigger expected goal involvement than, Spurs, which is incredible, to be honest. Damn, bad news for Tierney. Think Arsenal are in a lot of trouble today for a makeshift defence and keeper. Runnison in goal, and Bellerin versus Grealish does not look good. To be fair, Ollie, Ryan is in full training, and so is Pablo Mari, so they are likely to play. So yeah. But to be honest, the thing I said about Ryan, I liked him a few years ago. He was a good keeper, but this season he's been very poor, which is why Sanchez became first choice and why Ryan got offloaded. Captain Creswell, yeah, I mean, that's something I said before. From West Ham, if I didn't have Antonio and I wanted to captain a West Ham player, Creswell would probably be my choice. But yeah, I mean, if you back it, I don't think it'll be that easy, for West Ham in terms of, their defence. I think Fulham will cause problems for them, and they might even score a goal. But I do believe West Ham will score 2 or 3. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. Who shall I captain, Son or Gundogan? I mean, from those two, I think Son, just because of the fixture. I mean, it's up to you. Ultimately, go for what you want, because maybe Gundogan just gets a crazy score against Liverpool and it's a legendary performance. But I would probably go for Son. Probably the more sensible pick. Cavani or Cancelo to start? Probably Cancelo, but I don't know. If you already have a City defender, just go for Cavani. Transfer seller out for Lingard, the ultimate differential. Nah, not for me, and I just don't like Lingard, to be honest. Yeah, I just don't like him. Barnes or DCL? For this game week, Barnes. Martinez or Mendy? I've already answered this question. Hopefully you're not the same person, because I do put people on timeout who spam, but Mendy, that was my pick. Do you remember when I said that Bruno will shine against Southampton? I think, yeah. And to be fair, I mean, I didn't say he'd get 17 points. I never said that. But I did say Bruno will haul, most likely. Why didn't I captain him? That's my question to myself. Captain Bruno, you won't regret it. Yeah, well, I had him captain in my team selection video. And I might captain him, but I don't know. The thing with Bruno that puts me off is the fact that Pogba's most likely going to play. And I've looked at all of Bruno's hauls, and the majority of them come when Pogba is on the bench. So that really puts me off. I think Pogba's going to start. And also Everton defensively are pretty good. And what it gives me vibes of is Salah against Brighton. So despite Salah obviously looking really good in the last game, he faced Brighton, who have been one of the best defences, not only this season, but, especially in the last 4-6 game weeks, their top 3-5 defences. So, yeah, and Everton are quite similar. They've got a pretty good defence recently. Although obviously some of their fixtures have been pretty easy. And then, yeah, Antonio has an opponent who concede more goals, are expected to concede more, and West Ham have been nearly at, United's level. And remember, Bruno struggled to score against 11-man Southampton, and obviously even 10-man Southampton, and it took a penalty and 2 assists, and 1 goal and 1 assist came when they were with 9 men, so it's a bit difficult. On another day, Bruno would have blanked. That's how I see it. I am selling Son after this game week. Tottenham are so shit. I agree. The problem with that, obviously, is good double game week fixtures potentially in game week 26. And Kane is back very soon. And even if Spurs are awful, which they are, Son and Kane will probably get a lot of points. That's how I see it. Shaw or Stones? For this game week, I'd go for Shaw. DCL and Stones on my bench. 2, after seeing your bench, I can say they're going to deliver double digits. Oh, thank you. Chrisan says, hi, welcome. Thank you for joining. Playing Cancelo, play Gundogan or Diaz? I'd play Gundogan. So I'm doing something similar by benching Stones. And to be honest, City can keep a clean sheet, but you know what? I think one defender is enough, and Cancelo has that attacking potential. Captain Ings or Bamford or Antonio? In my opinion, Bamford or Antonio are the best bets from those 3, and ultimately it's up to you who you think is going to score the highest. I personally think it's going to be Antonio, but you might feel differently. Who are you captaining? I can't see the screen. You can't see the screen? I mean, it's at the bottom of the screen, no? I can see it quite clearly. It's Antonio. He's my captain. Thoughts on my Van Aanholt captain? Very bold. I probably wouldn't do it. I think I mean, do what you want. I'm just saying I wouldn't do it. I think Leeds are going to score. But if you think Leeds aren't going to score, or if you think Van Aanholt's going to score 1 or 2 goals, well, why not? That's what the game's all about. Heard Mane might be missing because he's decided to settle down and find his hairline. Oh my god. Shaw or Stones, already asked that, and let's see. Yeah, apologies. I mean, if you do spam the chat, I mean, from now I just won't answer your question. Obviously, I didn't even see that you spammed, otherwise I wouldn't have answered your question. But yeah, sure, I said. 69 points. Oh, jeez, come on, man, don't be daft. Will stats always catch up on teams given Spurs and Brighton recent results? I wouldn't say always, because it ultimately depends on the quality of the players to obviously deliver the stats or underperform them. But obviously, this case, Spurs, they were vastly overperforming their expected goals, and it caught up with them, as you just said. Son and Kane were just carrying them. They had expected goals of less than 1 in a match, and they'd score 2 or 3 because of Son and Kane just outrageous finishing and quality. And as for Brighton, they finally have the good keeper. Obviously, Ryan used to be good, but I don't think he's that good now. And Sanchez has been solid. And Brighton, to be fair, if you look at their goals, they're still not scoring too many goals. So I wouldn't want an attacker, but defensively they're very solid, and Potter's a good manager. So yeah, I don't think it always catches up, but it does on most occasions. Which one should be left out? Eric Dyer, Wan-Bissaka, Cancelo, or Soufal? Probably Wan-Bissaka from those 4, but to be honest, there's a possibility that Dyer gets benched after his disaster class against Chelsea. Start Cavani or Soucek? My attack is Bamford and Antonio, and midfield Salah, Bruno, Grealish, Son. I'd go for Soucek, but up to you, mate. But yeah, Cavani could do alright. I don't know, something about Soucek. What do you think of Grealish as captain, as a differential this week? I think he's decent, but if Ryan is alright in goal, and Arsenal defend as they have been recently, I don't see too many points for Grealish and Watkins. And that's famous last words. Arsenal always struggle in early kickoffs. And yeah, but I mean, just think about it. I mean, take away that stupid... I mean, I don't want to get into that, otherwise I'll go on a rant. But that stupid red card against Wolves, I mean, probably would have kept a clean sheet against Wolves. And before that, 5 clean sheets in 6 or something like that? Only 1 goal conceded. Arsenal have a very solid defence recently, and yeah, still the second best defence in the league at the moment. So I wouldn't captain Grealish personally, but if Ryan has a bad game, or Runnison, whoever's in goal, then yeah, Grealish might be good. Captain Antonio or Barnes? For me, Antonio. Start DC or Wan-Bissaka? Wan-Bissaka for me. Martinez or Meslier? Meslier for this week, I think. Watkins or Soucek? That's a tough one. I would probably go for Soucek. That's a really tough one. Captain Bamford or Antonio? I mean, as you can see on screen, I've Captain Antonio, so I'm not going to tell you Bamford personally, but Bamford is a very good choice in my opinion. Hey, how are you doing, Dylan? I have 2 free transfers, but I'm planning to wildcard next week ahead of double game weeks. If I use my wildcard, will I still have those 2 free transfers this following week? Lucas, hopefully you're still here. Thank you for your question. Whenever you wildcard, you only have 1 free transfer the following week. It doesn't matter if you had 2 free transfers stacked up beforehand. If you activate your wildcard, you're always going to have 1 free transfer going into the week after. So just bear that in mind. And thank you for your question. Is Saka okay? Yeah, he is. He played against Wolves and, scored a goal, hit the post in 30 seconds, had a great game. But unfortunately, things changed because of a stupid referee. Stones for me. I wouldn't get rid of Stones. I mean, he's got a double game week as well, mate. Remember that. I know they're tough fixtures, and they've also probably got a double game week in 26. So I wouldn't get rid of Stones, especially for me. But yeah. Bro, your chat is really behind. Yeah, well, I'm just trying to answer all the questions, mate. Fernandes or Maddison? Captain? Bruno for me, but Maddison could be a decent differential. But I think Bruno's a bit more likely to do well. Gundogan or Barnes? Probably Barnes, in my opinion. Dylan, I heard you don't like Lingard because he merely rocked at your yard. Yeah, well, to be honest, he's irrelevant. Saka or Soucek? Fuck. Probably Soucek. Bamford versus Antonio captain? I mean, Antonio for me. Stats-wise, Antonio's been far superior to Bamford. I already mentioned that before. Bamford has, an expected goal involvement of around 1.38, as opposed to Antonio, who's just got ridiculous stats. Let's look at his stats again. Yeah, he's got expected goal involvements of 4.63. That is fucking crazy, to be honest. And not only that, West Ham defensively better, offensively as well, than Leeds United recently anyway. And also the opponents, Fulham are actually right down there. So are Palace, to be fair. But yeah, all the stats, in my opinion, point towards Antonio. That's why I've gone for him right now. Whom should I bench? 1 out of 3. Ben Me, Dallas, or Gundogan this game week. I'd probably bench Gundogan out of those 3. Captain Bamford or Antonio. I mean, Antonio for me. Just back your gut. I mean, you don't need me to tell you who to captain, in my opinion. Obviously, I know what the point of the stream is. You know, I'm answering your questions or, you know, talking about FPL with you. But ultimately, just back who you want and who you think is going to get the most points. Both of them can do really well. So if you captain one and the other one does really well, you can't really kick yourself. You know, they're both good options this week. But I think Antonio's the better option. Johnston to Pope, DCL to Antonio for captain, -4. Fair enough. -4 for a keeper. Ooh. But yeah, fair enough. Antonio captain, I like that. Who do I start out? Cancelo, Diaz, Creswell, Aaron Bissaka, and Dunk. Oh my god. Wait, you only have to start... Oh no, you have to bench one of them, I'm guessing. I would probably bench Diaz. Yeah, I'd bench Diaz out of those. Good luck to everyone this game week, and may God bless whoever has to watch Spurs. Yeah, hopefully West Brom win. And then maybe Son could get a cheeky goal or two. But yeah, hopefully West Brom win. But that's not very unlikely. Start 2 out of Saka, DCL, Soucek. I would bench DCL, basically. Robertson or Stones. If you already have a City defender, then go for Robertson. Otherwise, just go for Stones, in my opinion. More likely to, you know, get a clean sheet. Captain Maddison or Fernandes. Bruno for me. No. Don't do that. Leeds will score. Okay. Would you start DCL or Cancelo? That would have double City defense for me. I'd start Cancelo and I'd bench whichever other City defender you have, and then maybe start DCL. Why are people not preferring Rashford? Well, I don't know with Rashford. He's very hit and miss. I mean, he's a bit of a streaky player, so maybe he'll do well now. And I'm not saying he definitely won't. If you have Rashford, hold him, in my opinion, you know, for the next 3 game weeks. But if you don't have him, I don't see a reason to bring him in just for the next 3, in my opinion. But, you know. Who knows? What do you think about double West Ham defence? If yes, who should have benched? Rafinha, Salah, or maybe even Diaz? I'd probably bench Diaz from those lot. And as for double West Ham defence, very good for the next 2, but after that, very, very poor with the fixtures. The fixtures turn for the worse. Rashford gets subbed really early. Yeah, that's another thing I don't really like about him. Wilson or DCL for this week? Wilson. Dylan, I was watching one of your videos and saw a guy comment he would triple captain Genepo. Still laughing at that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's probably joking. I mean, who in the right mind would do that? Probably the ones who triple captain Bednarek. Wilson to Antonio for the next 3 weeks. Yeah, but after that, Antonio doesn't look too good in terms of fixtures. However, Antonio's been so good. I would do that move though. Despite the fact that Wilson could haul this week, I'd go for that. Best captaincy this week for me. The best ones are Antonio, Bruno, Son, and Bamford, in my opinion. I'm trying to think of players I don't have. Let's look at the fixtures again. I mean, Grealish is a nice outside pick, but I just wouldn't go for him. Yeah, I think those 4 on paper are the best ones. And if you want someone reliable, go for Bruno. But if you want a more exciting pick, you know, someone who, in terms of the mixture of form and fixtures, then Antonio is the guy, and he's also an exciting pick. And as for the fixture, just purely the fixture, then Son is definitely the one to go for. And probably the differential out of those 4 is Bamford. Is it weird to play fantasy as a goal? Not really. I mean, probably 90%. I don't want to generalize, our guys, but, why not, If you like football, you'll like Fantasy League. Well, actually, no, you won't because it's stressful. Liverpool. Bench Barnes or Watkins? I would probably... I'd probably bench... Jesus Christ. That's how you know. I mean, that's why you asked the question. It's a tough one. I'd probably bench... Barnes. Oh, my God. Lewis or Taylor for the first bench? I know they are doubtful, even so. Probably Taylor. And to be honest, you could just start Taylor, and if he doesn't play, then you'll get subbed off. DCL Wilson for this game week, Wilson. Do you prefer Stones or Robertson? If you already have a City defender, go for Robertson. If you don't have a City defender, then go for Stones. Who should I bench? Bruno, yeah. Bruno, Salah, Soucek, Gundogan or Maddison? Probably Gundogan or Salah. Up to you. Whoever you think is going to do well that week. Don't forget about likes for Dylan, guys. Thank you, Christian. Appreciate it. Etani. I'm not Etani, mate. Come on. Who should I transfer in for Chilwell? Okay, so the picks, I mean, I don't know who you have. I would probably say either Justin, Rudiger, Alonso, Ben Me. A lot of people like that move. United defender, like Shaw or Wan-Bissaka. Those would be the ones I say. And if you don't have double City defence and you don't even have triple City yet, then you could get a City defender in ahead of Game Week 24, but not for this fixture against Liverpool. Who to choose, Lingard or Soucek? For me, Soucek, in my opinion. Have you thought about captaining Son? I have. Before this game week even happened, before, Spurs played Chelsea, before Kane got injured, Son, I looked at this fixture and I thought Son looks like the best captaincy this week in terms of the fixture. But yeah, not for me at the moment. I just don't feel it. I think he will score or he'll do something, but I don't know if his ceiling's going to be that high. Who knows? We'll see. West Brom are awful, so if Spurs are ever going to, kick form, then this could be the one. And I think Spurs are going to be a bit more aggressive offensively. And just like they were against Leeds, where, they were pressing high up the pitch and they were just looking to score more goals. I think that's what they're going to do. The big difference is no Harry Kane, most likely, but you never know. Bench Salah for Stones. If you think Stones is going to keep a clean sheet, then go for it, but it is risky. DCL Wilson, as I said before. Do you think DCL will get a return? He could. But then again, so could most of these players in my squad. But he can. Definitely he can. If Everton do something, I already said this, I think DCL is more than likely, going to be the one doing it. And to be fair, he has a decent record against United, in terms of goals or fantasy assists. So bear that in mind. Saka start over DCL? For me, yes, I would start Saka over DCL. Okay, yes. Whoever repeats the question more than once, I'm sorry, I'm just going to put you on timeout. You should put Rashford in. I mean, I've already made a transfer, and who am I going to get Rashford in for? Nah, not for me. Definitely not for Grealish. Probably not even for Salah. Definitely not for Bruno. Not for Gundogan. Son, there's a debate to be had, but for this game week, getting rid of him ahead of West Brom, nah, not for me. So, yeah. Me or Alonso? I would say Alonso and go for Pope if you want Burnley defensive cover, but it depends on your budget. So yeah, I'd say Alonso. Watkins or Bamford? For this game week, yeah, Bamford, and to be honest, overall Bamford. Who to choose, Lingard or Soucek? I think I've already read this, yeah. I already said this, so yeah. No spamming in the chat. There's no need to spam the chat. Maddison captain? Yeah, he's a decent differential, but personally, I think there are better options elsewhere. But if you have a good feeling about him, go for it, Don't let me tell you otherwise. Start Diaz or Salah? I'd probably start Salah, especially if you already have a City defender, but up to you. How do you think the game's going to go? And then base your decision off that. You can't imagine how many times I flip-flop between Son or Antonio. Similar to me and with Bruno and Antonio. And I actually flipped a coin as well twice. And both times it landed on Antonio. Yeah, I'm a bit of a nutter. Anyway, DCL or Cancelo, as I already have Diaz starting. I'd start Cancelo over Diaz. He's got more attacking potential. That's me personally. Go for what you want. And then I'd bench. So what I would do in your case, Agnes, I would start DCL and Cancelo and bench Diaz. DCL or Shaw? I'd start Shaw. Antonio Fernandes captain. Both very good captains. I'm going for Antonio, I think. We've only got 2 minutes left for the deadline, but Bruno is a great pick. If in doubt, maybe just captain Bruno Fernandes. Although I keep saying this, he got 17 points last week. But I don't know, man. A lot of those points came when they had 9 men. Che Adams or Soufal? Soufal for me. Captain Creswell, Bruno or Son? Bruno or Son. If you're a fixtures guy, go for Son. If you are a form or stats guy, go for Bruno. Carlo Fantastico, yeah. Good luck for this game week, mate. Thank you, you too as well. Thoughts on my team: Pope, Dallas, Creswell, Cancelo, Salah, Soucek, Barnes, Bruno, Sterling, Watkins, and Antonio. Yeah, that looks pretty good, to be honest. And yeah, you got Pope for the double game week. Yeah, I like that team, to be honest. Yeah, pretty solid. Does anyone know if Lowton at Burnley is a good option, 4.4? So if you can't afford Pope, or if you don't want him, you've already got 2 good keepers. If you don't want Ben Mee, I already mentioned Lowton before. He's a decent option. Apart from that, I wouldn't consider Tarkowski. He's a bit more expensive. But Lowton at 4.4, decent option. But apart from that, from Burnley, no, not interested. Start Soucek or Watkins? I would probably start Soucek, in my opinion. Good luck, everyone. Good luck to you as well, Wanjan. Thank you for joining in. I've got no FPL code at the moment. When I do have a league, I will let you guys know, and you can join. But yeah, thank you for everyone who's joined in and for the questions. And obviously, if you've enjoyed this video, then smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. And I'm still going to be here. There's still a minute left. If you have any more questions or whatever, then leave them in the chat. And I'll still be here for a bit more after the deadline passes, answering any questions or whatever. Thank you, Son of Sam, even though you are obviously a Spurs fan. Good luck to you as well. Maybe not to your team, but good luck to your FPL team. Creswell or Soufal or Chilwell? Which one to bench, please? To be honest, I just start Chilwell. in, just in case, personally. But I don't know. The problem with starting Chilwell is if he comes on for maybe a minute or two. Creswell, I'd definitely start. Definitely start Creswell no matter what. But double West Ham defence could be good against Fulham. But it is a London derby. It could be a bit feisty, a bit cagey. Might not be as easy as people think. But yeah, I've got Antonio captain. Am I crazy or what? We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, this is the sort of decisions that make or break your season. And my captaincy this season has been horrific. But I've gone for Antonio. And to be honest, if I knew, or if I had a feeling that Pogba's not going to start this game, I probably would have gone for Bruno, despite how good Everton can be, and despite how good Everton have been away from home. But it's just Bruno's record with Pogba. He's nowhere near as effective in terms of FPL points. So I've just gone for Antonio. I like the talisman. Bruno is the talisman for United, but sometimes he shares the responsibilities with Pogba when they're both on the field. But yeah, tough decisions. And Son could have been captain. Bamford could have been captain in the end. I went with Antonio. Are you an Arsenal fan? Yes, I am. I am an Arsenal fan. And yeah, my local team, supported them pretty much since day one. So yeah. Wow. So yeah, I mean, it's going to take, around half an hour for the game to update. And also in half an hour, we're going to know the lineups for Aston Villa against Arsenal. And that's going to be a tough game. I mean, if Leno was starting, I think Arsenal would win this game. I'd be very confident. But now with no Leno, I don't know. And also the confidence of the players being shot down a bit after what happened the other day. I don't know. And Aston Villa have been pretty poor recently. But you know what? Could be a very tough game, to be honest. But thank you everyone who has joined in. If you have any last questions, then leave them in the chat and I will answer them. But as I said just recently, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and smash the like button. It really helps. And share this video around with those who love FPL. And I stream every single time, 1 hour before the deadline. And same with UCL Fantasy. There will be videos coming out for that soon. I do previews, team selections, chip strategy videos, wildcards and stuff like that. And so tune me in for that. And also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I post regularly on those platforms. And you can send me your teams there via private message. You can send a screenshot of your team. And I'll just offer my opinion, if you need it. Maybe on who to captain, who to bench or whatever. But remember, it's always your decision. I'm just, talking FPL with you and stuff like that. I might get things right. I might get things wrong, just like you. But ultimately, the best thing about FPL is making your decisions. And yeah, that's just the best thing. I mean, literally, it's just that. And there's no, catch to it. I think it's the best thing about FPL. Coming from a United fan, not too confident. Usually coming off the back of a comfortable win, we play difficult football. If we win, I see it being a 1-0. Yeah, if Bruno had Antonio's fixture or something like that, then I'd definitely go for Bruno. But Everton are decent. Then there's the Pogba thing. Yeah, that's why I didn't go for Bruno in the end. Otherwise, I think Bruno would have definitely been my captain. And if Son and Kane, they were firing and stuff like that, then obviously, if I had Kane and he was fit and stuff like that, he'd probably be my captain for this game week. Great show, mate. Go the Arsenal, yeah, hopefully. But, I mean, you as an Arsenal fan should know early kickoffs. I mean, just think about the last one, Southampton in the FA Cup. Just awful. I kept switching captaincy, so I asked my mother, Werner, Antonio, Bamford. Bamford came the reply. I can't lie, I mean, I'm laughing, but I did something similar. I asked family, who should I captain? And they said Antonio or Bruno. And I said, oh, cheers for that. And that's literally the two I'm thinking about. I also, to be fair, did say Bamford or Son. So yeah, and the coin told me Antonio. So I'm turning into Two-Face at this minute. But yeah, it is what it is. Hey man, how are you? I took a risk and got a Aubameyang before deadline and sold Mane. Ooh, fair enough. To be fair, Mane could do well this week, but yeah, it is City and the tough fixtures after that. Aubameyang could be a nice differential. Hopefully he does well for you, because not only that, Arsenal will win games if Aubameyang's doing well. But yeah, good luck to your FPL team and good luck to Arsenal. Just subscribed and cheers for answering my questions. Thank you, MNU. I'll just call you Samuel. Thank you so much for tuning in and for subscribing. I really appreciate it. And good luck to you as well. Hopefully you do really well. Banter song, Salah, blanking down the weeks. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, well, I mean, he's been pretty poor recently, FPL-wise. But to be honest, I don't know. I still think Salah, if, Liverpool are at the normal level, let's say last season's level, I think he'd just be having an amazing season. He could be nearly on 200 points by now, I think. But yeah, maybe I'm just overselling him a bit. Thanks for the show. Definitely subscribing. Thank you, Wanja, and good luck to you as well. And hopefully, things go your way. And to anyone watching this, I wish you all the best for Game Week 23. And yeah, hopefully we get our captaincy decisions right. I keep saying this. I mean, I'm kind of saying as a ritual, trying to hope for the best. Also, ordering our bench in the right way and preparing for the smaller double game weeks to come in game weeks 24, 25, and then obviously the big one in 26. And there is probably one in 27 as well. Keep an eye out on that. But obviously, we don't have enough news yet on 26 and 27. So just keep your eyes peeled. Twitter's obviously a great source. And yeah, follow the relevant pages. And yeah, also, obviously, I don't want to plug myself too much, but if anything does happen, I will be letting you guys know on Twitter. And then subsequently on YouTube, I do community tabs, or community posts, should I say. But thank you for watching this video, and I wish you all the very best of luck, and just enjoy the football. That's the most important thing, and I'll see you next time.